how crucial is sort of data cleaning in the analytics process? And then what tools or methods do you use to ensure this data quality?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it goes without saying, especially for all the reasons I outlined why it's getting overwhelming to do analytics these days, that the cleansing of data is probably the most important ingredient in the exercise, right? And there's several things you need to do, right? It's not the simpler data sets we had. It's very complex. And so the first thing I think you want to do is just have some way to make data available to someone in analytics, right? And that's easier said than done, right? Just because there's data doesn't mean it should be available as is, right? So that requires some governance aspects, which has to be overarching, right? There has to be some way in which that availability is made usable, it's made secure for privacy, other reasons, and enterprise risk, right? So, and it's becoming a very big thing with open AI and data inputs coming in from there, right? So the data governance umbrella probably is an important step. We obviously, being in healthcare, really, spend a lot of time there, which is, I see that as part of a cleaning process. Many people don't, but I think it is, right? And in terms of the inputs that you actually use in an analytics process, we test our data, right? For again, because a lot of our data comes from data providers, right? You want to proactively get ahead of, what I would call the known unknowns. For example, sometimes you have a physician, let's say, who is in one group practice, but also in another group practice, right? So you have the same physician kind of with two different numbers. If you're trying to find insights about a physician without taking into account the various domains in which they practice, or whether they have an individual practitioner office and a practice in a hospital, you need business rules to kind of integrate, what you're trying to do, right? So there's that component of cleaning which we pick up in data testing, and you want some way, because of the disconnected nature of data coming in, you want some kind of cataloging of all of those databases, which is important from a cleaning standpoint as well, because if you don't know what databases are coming in, you can link all of them, right? And if you want to link all of them, you have to start with things like unique identifiers and the whole single source of truth idea, that you want to master a data set in only one place, right? In a central place. You don't want it being mastered in multiple places. So there's all of those steps that I think used to be in the domain of IT again, but are very much now on the part of groups like commercial data management, which have to have a very, very important role in talking to the analytics people who use it, as well as the IT people who load and provision it. So those are all steps I know we take. I'm also aware a lot of other organizations take the same steps as part of the data cleaning and provisioning steps.
Yes. Cool. And any particular tools you could recommend to the audience, or is it across the board?
It's really, it depends, I think, very much on the environment, the types of data. That there are a whole host of tools, Ben. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I know all the tools that even we use, because they keep changing depending on the formats.
Yeah.
But there's a variety of tools depending on the type of data that you use. The how quickly it has to be done, the frequency with which the source data comes in, all of those issues, right? And so I couldn't speak very intelligently to the exact tools, but I do know there's a variety and not just a single tool. Obviously, the nirvana is data observability, and I think we have tools out there like single platforms that do all of the things, right? But even those, we're still evolving in that domain.
Yeah. Okay. Things keep changing, so you've got to keep, isn't it? Like there's no end. It's not like you've done it. It's 100 other tasks get created. I guess like with Gen AI, isn't it? It's been creating such a buzz, but I guess for people like in your game, it's probably creating a lot more headaches because you've got all this more work.
Correct, and that can be a challenge with stakeholders and leaders in organizations sometimes, right? Because they see the tip of the iceberg. So that's where the Gen AI and the LLMs and all of the fancy analytics and omni-channel and attribution, all of that is on that top. But what's underneath is what we're talking, right? Which is where the real work is, right? And an understanding of that is required.